It's time to get our shot, our wonderful shot of vitamin T. It's time for a conversation with Teresa Tomeo. And Teresa, even as we bring in, I'm gonna set the table because we have two gigantic things to talk to you about. Coming up in your show next hour, you're going to be speaking with Bishop Ricken about Sister Adele Brice, now servant of God, Sister Adele Brice. So I want to talk about that for a minute. But also, my goodness, the bones of St. Francis are available for the people to venerate for the first time in 800 years. And you're right there in the middle of it.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thanks for having me on again this morning. That will start on February 22nd, Dave. And I was telling Sean that in just looking at the numbers of people who've registered, it's free, of course, but you do have to register. They're trying to do a crown control. They have already over 350,000 people that have registered to venerate the relics. And again, it begins on February 22nd, and it runs through March 22nd. This is for the Jubilee year, the Holy Year of the Year of St. Francis, which began on January 10th. So Deacon Dom and I have tickets, and we are going on March 11th and 12th. We're actually going twice. We have two appointments because I'm going to be interviewing one of the priests involved in the whole setup. It's phenomenal. I'm so excited. I have just gotten to know and love St. Francis so much more since we've been there and doing this research for my new book that's coming out in the spring with E.W. Chan on St. Francis, the second Italy book, and then a series I just completed on St. Francis, which will come out around Easter time. So, yeah, it's amazing. I'm so glad to see there's so much interest, too.
So, Teresa, you said that one of the things I've heard is obviously Assisi's a small town. How are they dealing with this influx of people? I've not been to Assisi, so.
Yeah, it is very small, and there are hotels. There are several hotels in Assisi proper, and there's really two major sections. You're on top of the mountain with the actual town of Assisi, but then there's a second area below called Santa Maria degli Angeli with the same name as the church there, the big church where the Portiuncula is. There are more hotels down in that area. I'm thinking, Pat, that they're going to be bringing in people for the day because there's no way that they don't have the infrastructure. There's no way they could house that. So people need to pack their patience when they go if they're going to, if they're going to Assisi this year, because Assisi is always very popular. But now you have the canonization last year of St. Carlo Acutis. Now you'll have St. Francis and St. Clare, in addition to all these different events that are going on in 2026 to the year of St. Francis. So it's going to be tight. When we were there in October with our group, we got there plenty of time early on a Sunday to get in for Mass and to visit, his tomb and whatnot. We came out, and it was about, 9 o'clock. The line was all the way through the main piazza outside the church, down the street, going around to the parking lot, which is all the way around, down Mount Sebastian and down a hill into the parking lot. So it shows you how busy it was, and that was last fall. It was, obviously the Holy Year, the Jubilee year, but this is going to be the year of St. Francis. So it is going to be crowded, and if people don't have hotel reservations now, I would say for the event in February and March, it's going to be tight. They might want to look at an Airbnb or maybe staying even in nearby Spoleto or Spello or another town not too far from Assisi.
It's a good thing you spread it out, through enough days to accommodate all those people. They must have anticipated such a great influx.
Yeah.
Now, you and Deacon Dom were hosting some folks. I assume that's all full at this point.
Well, actually, we didn't make it yet. People, if they're still interested, we're still looking for people. I think it's because it was right after the holidays, so we need 20 to make it a go. I think we have close to that. But if people are still interested, they can still contact corporate travel. But we're going anyway because of my book and because of the work I'm doing with E.W. Chan on St. Francis. I need to be there, and we're going to be doing some. Taking a lot of pictures, and we're going to be talking with a lot of people, getting a lot of, as we say, MOS, man on the street interviews for Catholic Connection. So yeah, we couldn't miss this event. Even before Dominic considered entering into diaconate, he was thinking about becoming a third order Franciscan. So he loves St. Francis, and St. Francis was a deacon too. So it has a lot of meaning for both of us.
Yeah.
Well, make your way over there. No better way to do it than with Deacon Dom and with Teresa. So go through corporate travel for that to make arrangements. But Teresa wanted to spend some time with you about your upcoming program, talking about now Servant of God, Sister Adele Brice.
Yeah, we have Bishop Ricken on. He's on for 2 segments in the 9 o'clock hour on E.W. Chan's Catholic Connection. He's such a sweet, holy bishop. I've done a lot of events for his diocese, and I don't know if any of you have been to Our Lady of Champion.
Yes,
that place is amazing, and that story, the Sister Adele Brice, and how, as you said, Dave, her cause is open for canonization. She's a servant of God. What I love about this story is God is always using the people who are simple, loving, honest people who don't think that they're all in a bag of chips, right? Because when she
Right.
saw the Blessed Mother, and the Blessed Mother is telling her to instruct the children. They don't know how to make the sign of the cross. They don't know their catechism. She says, well, I can't do it. I'm not that equipped. I'm not an educator. And she says, I will give you the tools. I'm paraphrasing, of course. So there's a great encouragement in that, because lots of times we may be given a task from the Lord and think, well, what are you doing, Lord? I can't handle this. So it's a beautiful story, and you can actually see the burn marks by the fence there that surrounds the shrine. And you, Dave, I saw you there. We actually bumped into each other. Remember during COVID? You were praying downstairs, and we had a bus full of people that we brought. That was one of our first pilgrimages with corporate travel when things started to open up again. And wasn't that fascinating? You could still see the burn marks on the ground. And when they did the procession, they were constantly praying and processing, and it protected the area from that huge fire that hit that part of the state at that time. So it's a fascinating story, and it's a real story of how our Blessed Mother is there for us and intercedes.
I remember I was on the National Advisory Committee to the USCCB when that came up as a national shrine to vote as whether that was, met the criteria or whatever. And I remember reading the story because we got it all in our packets.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, I got to get there, and then, of course, it was approved. And I thought, I got to get there. So I finally got there a couple of years ago. And it was just, it was very, very amazing. And you're kind of thinking, when you think shrines, a lot of times you think like huge, and it's really, at the time I thought, but then I thought, well, no, this is what it is. She was very simple. This was very simple, and yet amazing. So so I think if people think they're going to go see this huge, spectacular, as far as material things, it's very simple, and I love that. It was beautiful. I love the downstairs. We spent a lot of time in the basement looking of the church. So it is definitely well worth the trip. There is just such friends of mine, they moved to tears just sitting there praying in the midst of all that, when you understand
and there's
the
a
story.
sense of peace, I think, there.
Oh,
and that's what's so beautiful, just so peaceful. And again, this is the type of thing you could do, easily in a day trip if you're living in the Midwest, as we are. We took a bus. We went up through. It was so wonderful. We had a full bus with corporate travel. We went up all the way through northern Lower Michigan, stopped at the Cross in the Woods in Indian River, which is gorgeous, and then we went across over to the UP, and then over to Wisconsin. And the colors, we had a beautiful, warm October day, and it was just spectacular. So you could combine it with a great little family weekend or a family vacation.
Oh, yeah.
It's just amazing that this happened. I mean, sometimes we think of the miracles, and we have so much, of course, around the world in various countries, in Europe and Poland and France and in Italy, and yet there are some right here. And this one is just fantastic, and it's so relatable, especially for those people who are in the faith teaching in some capacity.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
I lived in Green Bay, Wisconsin for a time, and when I lived there, the priests of the Diocese of Green Bay were forbidden to go there. They were forbidden to go there by a previous bishop. And I just want to say, as in all things that are good in the church, it went through this time of persecution, but there was a faithfulness among a group of people that just stuck with it. That's what it takes. And then a man like Bishop Ricken, and I can't wait to hear your interview with Bishop Ricken coming up. And by the way, if you want to get signed up to be a part of what Teresa and Deacon Dom are doing in Italy, ctscentral.net to join them there. Teresa, thank you for everything you do. You're right in the middle of it all. Thank you. And thanks for spending
guys.
time
God bless.
with us.
Have a great week.
You too. Bye-bye.